some point in time, many of you start to awaken as an old soul. Not all of you, but many of you. And this is simply because you have spent so much time on the planet cumulatively that it starts to then mature you when you get back. So indeed, there are things you remember very vividly from lifetime to lifetime. And part of that remembrance, perhaps, is being here and knowing what to expect. When you first arrive, you don't know what to expect. You spend several lifetimes learning how Earth works. You do. And as you then come back and you come back and you come back, what you carry in with you is almost like a remembrance of being human. Not the particulars, not the gender, not really. But you have a comfortable spot of being human, whereas the first time you arrived, you had to get used to it. The second time, a little more. And the third time, begin to say, okay, that's who I am. That's all figuratively, not in your mind as a human. But that's what you see as you look backwards and you see these lives and what they meant. But now I'm talking to old souls in general. I'm talking to those who have been here over and over and over and over. So let's say, as an awakening old soul, you have made some choices in this life. And they're choices that you never made in other lives. They're unusual. Perhaps they go even against your culture. Perhaps you have awakened and stepped out of the things that your parents told you you should be in. Perhaps that your friends also looked the other way as you stepped out into that which is a belief system which you know carries more love and compassion and understanding and maturity and enlightenment than where you were before. And let's say that happened. And if it did, that puts you perhaps in a place where your life changes dramatically. Perhaps it even ripped you out of what you learned to do or did half your life or most of your life, and you find yourself now doing something completely different. I speak of my partner. That's exactly what happened to him. He did the reverse of what his family wanted, the reverse of what his friends wanted, even those in his business wanted. And he turned his back figuratively on an old energy where most of them were, and walked into a place where they almost all of them, looked the other way. To such a degree that he had to learn that they had passed on, months after they had passed on. That's how removed they were, by choice, from his choice. And many of you are the same way. Now let's say that happens to you. And you go to the other side when you pass over, as they say. And on the other side, can you see how that might change what you do next? Now, pay attention, because this violates the rules of everything you've been told about the timing of reincarnation. Let's say at that moment that you move to the other side of the veil and you're in that beautiful soul energy and you look back upon the planet, and let's say you see something that's happening and you realize that in 20 years you're supposed to be part of it. Would that affect how quickly you reincarnate? And the answer is yes. And you come back in less than 3 months. Now, think about that. You have been told perhaps that reincarnation does not happen that quickly. This time it did, because you had to come back to be with something that could possibly happen in 20 years if the earth kept going the way it was. No one can tell you what's going to happen. But the trends are there. So we've told you that before. And so in you come again to grow up. So by the time you're 20, 21, 22, you can firmly be part of something. What if that something was a new government? What if that something was new healing modalities that you were perfectly fit for? Think about that. Now, let's do the reverse. Let's say that you pass over as an old soul, and you are there looking at what's going on, and you realize that there is a partnership that you had enjoyed all of your life or some of your life, but it was profound. It was an old soul partnership. And at some level, you're speaking to the soul of that partner, and the agreement is, we will wait until that partner also transitions. And we will come in so that we are in the same kind of an age area, so we will rekindle that partnership. And we'll put ourselves in the same area, so it is likely we'll find one another and continue where we left off. Whoa. And what if that takes 10 years? 5 years? You have just affected the timing of your reincarnation. You have no hurry. Dear ones, the timing of incarnation is almost completely and totally set by what happens to you now in this lifetime. And it didn't used to. In an older energy, it was more of a pattern. And you came in more of a pattern, certain number of years or months, more of a pattern, but not now. So you might say the new energy on this planet has affected even the things of the Akash. Even the things that you might not think were affected. They're more in your control than you know. And that is the best news I could ever bring you. A control of compassion and love for you. You now choose to continue your experiences so that you can help this planet the most. In the past, it was to continue experiences so you could help yourself the most and have different experiences so you karmically could be prepared for anything. And now it's a bit different. You are in love with this planet, and I am in love with you. Dear ones, for what you do, for what you're going through, for what you will do, on the future that we see on this planet that is light and bright, more so than you even think. I'm in Kryon in love with humanity. I've said that. Believe it. And so it is.
And very softly, very gently, bring your awareness back into your body. Feel the energy moving. You may even feel a connection, deepen your connection with Gaia as you become more present in your body. And if you've had those beautiful, precious eyes of yours closed, you're invited to open your eyes. And we keep that energy with us, but we're just going to become a little more present in the moment, because I am thrilled beyond belief that we have an Aussie coming to join us on our program. Her name is Alicia Power, and I want to just make sure this live feed to Australia is good and working. And Alicia, are you there?
I am here. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Yay.
Such a blessing, such a pleasure, and so wonderful we can connect in this way. So we want to tell everyone about you.
So,
thank you.
I would like to tell everybody that Master Healer and Advanced Spirit Telepath, Alicia Power, has been trained by Creator Being Spirit Mentors for over 3 decades. She's been doing this as long as I have. Now, if you take a look at her, that means she started when she was 6, when I was a little older than that. And these years of partnering and initiations with senior levels of spirit has resulted in her embodying a type of spirit authority that activates a fast upgrade to a person's soul and evolution through accelerated clearing of the Akashic auric fabric of the soul. Remember that, because she's going to talk about that. The Akashic auric fabric of the soul.
Now, a crisis like the one that we are witnessing at the moment, it truly is an eye-opener for many. And lifestyle is no longer trending. Mind style is what it's all about. I'm sure some of you have heard that before, but it seems that it's true. Now, Alicia is a prolific author, and she's done over 20 life-changing online courses. And she gives a monthly live training where she shares the far reaches of the spirit influence in our world.
Her YouTube channel has over 1 million views. That's exceptional. And she has around 47,000 followers on her Twitter channel. Alicia is honored to invite you into a world of great spirit power. It'll help your human learning to hold love above everything. Alicia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lee. Thank you so much, Monica.
Hey,
it's my great pleasure to be here.
We're really interested. We always ask this just to everybody, how did this begin? Because we all have our beginning story.
I was always a kind of a religious child. I was brought up in a European family, actually in New Zealand. They were Polish, and my parents had just come out of the war, and they were incredibly religious. So I came through this childhood of tons of communing with God, right? and then around about the age of 18, I started to meditate, and I came across an extraordinary Indian guru avatar who was the real deal. That's just extraordinary. And for 16 years studied under his consciousness training system and deep meditation states, and was in an ashram celibate for 6 years. So you can hear how there was this real trajectory of focus on God source, because for me, meditation was direct connection to God source. And then around about my early 30s, I had this hugely deep need to open up my conscious attention into the worlds of spirit, which is very unusual for people who have this ongoing meditation practice. Well, I think it's an unusual. So I opened a book and did a little exercise. I was very used to being very still in my mind, so I could feel when an energy presence came to me. And in that moment was my very first connection and my very first spirit mentor, who turned out to be a master healer who taught me for 2 years. I was full body channeling him with clients and doing auric energy healing for those first 2 years. But he was the one who was showing me around the aura, my spirit telepathy, my two-way dialoguing with the worlds of spirit, and my seeing them watching what they were doing as spirit technicians, and the teams that were coming to work on people's auras was fascinating for me, because I had actually trained as a journalist just before that time, and I just had a very curious mind. And so I started to just watch what they do, and they so beautifully just kept feeding me more and more and more information. So I just quickly want to say that was 30 years ago. Those first 2 years, I ended up being passed up to very senior levels of the worlds of spirit after those 2 years, and have now partnered with them for the 3 decades. And these are overseer beings. I actually, on a daily basis, just very quickly deal with and work with and partner with many, many, many different types of spirit beings for their specialities of what I want to work with them for, whether it's information, whether it's healing, whether it's high authority to do something, to shift some very high shadow or light. So I work with quite a few different teams of spirit beings. But today, what I want to say is, and so I've spent 3 decades looking into human auras, and not just looking into them, but watching the spirit technicians as they float around and scan and show me where they travel in those memory records of the soul, which is called the Akashic records. And that's what I was talking about, the fabric of the soul, the Akashic fabric of the soul. So they just showed me and taught me how to follow them in the worlds of spirit, and they would show me what they were doing. So fascinating. Today, everyone, I would love to take you right now into a little adventure into your own aura with a healing guide, if that's of interest. And so everyone, let's play. And we're going to have some fun.
Well, speaking on behalf of everybody here, yes, we are so ready, and thank you for offering this opportunity to us.
Thank you, Monica. Let's play, everybody. Just have fun. I always say use your imagination pretend mode, pretend you're a 1-year-old. What that does is it pulls you away from your logic, which has got doubt in it, and drop down into that innocent 1-year-old mode, because that's where the worlds of spirit are unfolding what they would like you to perceive. It's not so much seeing, but just like a feeling, knowing, perceiving rather than seeing, right? So it's down below your logic, That's how we play. We play with pretend mode, imagination mode, because the spirit world takes it from there. They start showing up on that imagination screen what they want to show you. Okay, so closed eyes, taking a deep breath, everyone, and we're going to have some fun. Oh, this is so much fun. Okay, so what I'd love you to do is, in your imagination, in your mind's eye, totally have fun with pretend mode. Just imagine that there is a warrior healer being standing in front of you. I'm going to use that word warrior because this is an advanced healer being. So much love. This being is so much love. They're quietly, humbly just standing there. And what we're going to do first, because I'm actually teaching you how to work with them right now, is we're just going to allow this being to just feel into you. And what they're doing is the most important part of working with a healing guide, is letting them scan you. Now, in your own mind, you might like to think to yourself, what is a little fear that I have? A fear of not enough money, a fear of not being loved, maybe. Just have a little think inside yourself of what there's a fear, because as you're thinking about it, this beautiful being will be noticing the kind of beep, beep, beep in your auric tissue. It is like a circuit board, and it's like an electronic circuit board. These guys are like electronic technicians, and they instantly feel what your attention's on. All right, so all we're doing is just staying calm, just letting this being notice. And I'm being shown immediately, excuse me, is that this being is just very, very gently sending its attention deep into your beautiful soul field, your beautiful human aura, which is a matrix of light, so many light filaments and light waves. And let's play. So let's watch where I'm going to give you this sense of watching where this being is putting its attention and noticing where it is. And I'd like you to switch on pretend mode as that 1-year-old and have a sense inside yourself of where that being is noticing, where it's going with its periscope attention, with its laser attention. Just have a little bit of fun with this. It might be in your gut. It might be in your throat. It might be up and down your spinal cord. It might be in your base chakra. It might be at the bottom of your feet. It might be in your armpits, which are very important chakras. The nurturing chakras. Us women nurture so much. And sometimes those armpit, I know, interesting, those armpit chakras can get really stressed. So each of you quite uniquely will be noticing where there's the sense of attention, where this being's attention is going. And this little moment where I'm sort of suggesting that you notice where their attention's going, this is quite important because they're using you also as a periscope, as you're just sticking your attention on where they're going. Together, you're traveling together. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to invite you to notice that this being is reaching in to a major stuck point in your aura. It could be your throat, it could be your heart, wherever the fear is. And very, very gently, it's pulling out a big patch of energy, of fear. I call it like melted wiring, just pulling it out. Very, very simple. If you want to, you can ask this being to just do that again. Because what they're going to do is go a tiny bit deeper in that iceberg under the ocean lake, because there is a bit of a trail going down. So let's invite that being just to reach in again and pull another piece of energy, stuck energy out, blocked energy. So this motion and this moment where you're inviting and telling and instructing the spirit guide, the spirit healer, this is your job, to to let them know what you want them to do. This is how they love you to work with them, is to tell them what you want them to do. But also to kind of go into innocent mode and watch what they're doing as well. So that combination. All right, everyone. Now I'd love you to take a deep breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, because this advanced healer being works incredibly fast, very strategic, very specific, very targeted. And anytime you want to, you can, my favorite thing, and I always tell people to do this, is to actually lie down for 5 minutes during the day and do this. You can be sitting up, you can be standing, you can be sitting in your car if you want to. But if you lie down horizontal, your whole mind, your body, your emotions, your psychology, everything calms down. And those beautiful healer beings can go in much more deeply and just work much more faster. And your mind also can follow them more easily if you're lying down. I know, it's just a little trick. Going horizontal. So this is, I'm handing it to everyone. Play with it. Use it in your life. Do this at home.
I love that. Reasons. I love that.
I like the whole idea of healer beings.
Yes, and I love the simplicity of what you gave us. And, normally there's those shows where it says, don't try this at home, folks. But I love that you've just handed us something to say, try this at home, folks. Do it when you can. And I'm guessing that the more we do it, the more comfortable and familiar we become with the spirit healers, the easier the process becomes.
So how would you describe auric fabric? I stumbled over those words and I said that you would explain a little more.
Wow. Okay, so auric fabric is made of filaments of light or waveforms of light. I always love talking about it as the light inside every single waveform is actually packed and stacked with code. Because I've been playing with these technicians for a long time, I have actually noticed that the way that they go in and repattern stuck energy is to go into a patch of these waveforms and read the code. And then it's very interesting. And then they literally vacuum that code out. They're also telling me to say right now, another way that they work is by entrainment, I think the word is, where they come and harmonize. We're used to using that word vibration. But actually what they're doing is downloading and replacing and upgrading code in those light waves. And I do believe a lot of quantum physicists would totally agree with what I'm saying. And it's something that they already know, that there is code in the quantum waves. And our aura is made of quantum waves. There's an anatomy to the aura. If you just go online and start Googling the